All right, Parisa. So you have some questions from Brihat Parashara or Shastra, right?
Yes.
Let's hear them.
Okay, so it's from chapters 1 to 3, and there were some things I was unclear about, so I thought I asked you. So in this quotation, it says that the grahas incarnate as a succession of birth, where their purpose becomes to destroy strength of demons and to strengthen the gods to reestablish Dharma. So I wanted to know if everything emanates from Vishnu. Is the translation off? Is that why I'm getting that face?
I don't know, but you're getting that face because I definitely think that I'm not going to be able to answer the question just from a translation. I'll need to look at the transcript. My books are kind of far away from me right now. But let's see if we can find something on the internet if it has a Sanskrit source. So your question is if everything is an incarnation of Vishnu.
Yes. So to establish this purpose by strengthening Dharma, by, hold on, let me read this. To destroy the strength of the demons and to strengthen the gods to reestablish Dharma. I really didn't understand this statement at all. Because I'm thinking, because in chapter 1 at the beginning too, he says everything emanates from Vishnu. So what is this separation of demons and gods and in relation to Dharma?
Okay, can you remind me what the reference is?
Yes, this is a reference from chapter 2, and I believe it's section 4, so 2.4.
All right, let me pause this video for a second and see if I can get an online Sanskrit source. Now, just to show you how, not even going back to the Sanskrit, let's look at another translation of this thing. Can you read yours one more time?
Yes, it says the grahas incarnate as a succession of birth, where their purpose becomes to destroy the strength of the demons and to strengthen the gods to reestablish Dharma. So
now here's another incarnation by Satnam. Yes. He says the unborn Lord has many incarnations. So your translation says that these planets have incarnations, right?
Yes.
So this translation says it's Vishnu has many incarnations.
Okay.
And then it says he is incarnate, which include the planets. It says he is incarnated as the planets.
Okay.
And then he explains the purpose for it. He's by saying to bestow on the living being the results of their karmas. Yes. That unborn is Janardana. He assumed the auspicious form of the grahas to destroy the demons and sustain the divine beings. Now let's look at the Sanskrit. So do you see this translation is a better translation than yours, just from an English point of view? I don't know. We haven't looked at the Sanskrit yet, but just speaking as a person who knows how to use the English language, the translation that you have is like, what are you talking about? I can't, the sentences are not clear. And there's no real logical sequence to the idea.
Yes.
Or it's very difficult to follow a logical sequence. But this English translation that I just read at least has some structure to it and logic. It's easy to follow, right? The structure of this translation is there's an unborn Lord who has a lot of incarnations, which include the planets. The reason why he incarnates as the planets is to deal with karma, to give the results of karma to people. The name of that person, of that unborn Lord, is Janardan. And the reason why he wants to give that the grahas are auspicious, and the reason why he incarnates as them is to destroy demons and enhance the divine beings. Okay. Now let's talk about this more.
Yes, I have many questions about the passage that I had, but it does address some of the things you're saying.
Yeah. Let's look at the Sanskrit.
Yes, please.
Now, it's my copy that I found is really fuzzy.
Okay.
And when you get Devanagari letters in fuzzy, it's really hard to read them. Okay. But it says avatara avatarasya anekani. Avatarasya anekani. So that means there's countless avatars. Right? You know what avatar means? Like, yes. Here the translation is incarnation. It doesn't really mean incarnation. Avatar means someone who comes in from a higher place. Avatarasya anekani. What's that word? Hyajasya. Hyajasya. That's why the person translated as unborn Lord. And that's why this translation is correct, but your translation is incorrect. Because Hajasya, it means Aja, of Aja. So these avatars are of Aja, not of planets. You see?
Okay. Yes.
It's not Grahasya, it's Ajasya.
Just, okay.
So the unborn one, Aja, has many, many avatars. That's what it's saying. And a he is thrown in there to throw an extra syllable to make a shlok, and to just say, put like an exclamation point on it, or say certainly, definitely. Definitely this unborn being has many incarnations. Paramatmanaha. So avatarasya nekani hyajasya paramatmana. That unborn paramatma, supreme person, right? That unborn supreme person has many avatars, countless avatars. So far, so good?
Yes.
Then the next line says, Jovanam? Jovanam karma palam. Whoops. Jovanam karma. I don't really know if that's a messed up letter that I can't read right. Jovanam karma pala dao. Probably. These letters are so fuzzy. Praharupi janardana. So this is the line that's saying the karma pala, the results of the karma. This could be jivanam. That would make sense then, right? Jivanam, to the living beings. Karma pala. Karma pala. What is that letter? Karma pala do, maybe? He's giving the karma to the jivas, the living beings.
I see. Okay.
Graharupani. That's why this guy has taken these. Graharupani. Graharupani. He's taken the form of the planets to give karma pala, results of the deeds, to the living beings. And his name is Janardana.
Okay.
So do you understand so far?
Yes.
There's this unborn supreme entity has countless manifestations. One of the, amongst those manifestations are the grahas. The reason why he takes the rupa, or the manifestation of the graha, is to give the results of the deeds, the karma pala, to the living beings. And that's why he's called, and after all, he's called Janardana. Janardana means the one who takes care of people. Okay. But Ardhana also means the one who disciplines people. So that's what karma is doing. It's disciplining the bad deeds and encouraging the good deeds. That's why later on it's going to be said the divine and the demonic nature.
I see. Okay.
Then, again, another letter I can't read. Asya, something asya. Vesya, something asyanam. Vala na sham. Yeah? Balanashaya. Balanashaya. By destroying the strength of the Daitya. That's what that word is. Daityanam Balanashaya Devanam Bala Prabhritye. Something like that. So it means by being Janardana and taking care of people by disciplining them, he destroys the strength of Daitya and enhances the strength of Deva. Right, so Daitya means the evil, and Deva means good.
Okay.
So why would the person? So this is actually quite a good shloka. I'm glad that you asked about. Why would the unborn supreme entity, Paramatma, Aja Paramatma, why would that person want to have avatars manifest in the world? Krishna explains why in the Gita. It's Pritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chatustkritam. which is the same thing that this shloka is saying, to protect the sadhus and destroy the duskriti, to protect the good and destroy the evil. That's why I sambhavami yuge yuge. That's why I manifest myself as an avatar age after age.
Mhm.
So this shloka in Parashara Shastra is saying the same thing, that Janardhan Vishnu, that one who takes care of everybody, but also keeps them in place, disciplines them, that guy who's the supreme entity manifests in this world for the sake of Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya diskritam, or as it said here, daityanam balanashanam and devanam bala pravrita, to encourage the good and to put down the bad. And how does he do it? Sometimes he does it like he'll come as Ram and he'll kill Ravana, like literally, or he'll come as Krishna and he'll kill Kamsa. But sometimes, all the time, he's manifest as the grahas, according to this book.
Mhm.
And this is an astrology book, so it's going to give some importance to planets, right? And say, so according to Puranas, you never hear something like Vishnu manifests as the grahas. But when you get to the astrologers' books, they say, look, these planets are
Mhm.
also manifestations of Vishnu, because they're involved in the dispensation of karma, which is one of the ways, validly so, like it agrees with the Puranas and Vedanta. Karma is one of the ways that Vishnu accomplishes Paritranaya sadhanam and vinashaya duskritam. That's one of the ways that he diminishes evil and encourages good, is by doing the Pavlovian reward system. You do something right, you get a reward. You do something wrong, you get a shock.
Mhm.
That's what karma pala is. You do something that's not so selfish, you get a reward. You do something that's really selfish, you get a shock.
Right.
So that's, the guy is saying, the author of this shloka is saying, well, the planets are involved in the karma, so the planets must be incarnations of Vishnu. It's reasonable.
Right. Okay.
So then we got one more line to look at.
Yes.
Dharma, this is exactly Dharma, Dharma, samstapanam artha. This is exactly from Gita. He's basically exactly paraphrasing Gita, because Krishna says, Vinashaya cha duskritam, Dharma samstapanartaya sambhavam yuge yuge. And he quotes verbatim from the Gita here. This is for the purpose of reestablishing Dharma, which is putting the world into its right order, putting it into its right shape.
Okay.
Graha janataha gu. Yeah, these letters are so small. Sumat. I'm not sure about, I can't really read this line, but we definitely sorted out this shloka, right?
Yes.
What it means. So you have any other questions about it?
So I do have a question about this notion of the good and evil, because
Yeah.
if everything's emanating from Vishnu, what is that differentiation between good and the evil, and that natural order and law, and
Right.
to establishing Dharma? I mean, these are, for me who's reading it, these are, the author is taking for granted that someone might not know what he's referring to in terms of good and evil and the natural order.
Right. Because this is a book about astrology.
Yes.
Right. So he's just really quickly, with the opening chapters,
Yes.
putting this book into the context of the larger Vedic culture, which is, it has to do with Vishnu, it has to do with karma, it has to do with good and evil, dharma, stuff like that. So in 2 or 3 chapters, he's going to say, this is how the subject of astrology fits in with the stuff that is integral to our culture, and then he's done with it. So he's not, and then he gets into, this is how you calculate this and that. So he's not going to sit there and give you a elaborate explanation of, that's not the point, right? The people that he was writing the book to already had the elaborate explanation, and they just wanted to know, how does this astrology stuff relate?
Right.
So, but the Puranas will answer your questions. They say, one of the important analogies that they give to address your basic question, if Vishnu is the source of everything, then how do you get bad stuff?
Right.
Right. they say that light, like the sun, like a source of light, like the sun, will obviously cause light, but it also causes shadows, right? So light source also causes darkness. Darkness is an emanation from light. The light is the emanation of everything, but one of the things that emanates from light is darkness, ironically, because the thing which is facing away from the light will find itself in the shadow, like when it's nighttime on Earth. That nighttime is caused by the sun, but it's our being on an opposite side to the sun that makes that sun, it's the shadow of the sunlight which makes it night.
Yes.
So the same way, what evil is just the absence of the goodness part.
Okay.
So everything emanates from Vishnu, but there's a lack of, because everything emanates of Vishnu, there may be some lack of connection to that. Like if you're on the opposite side of the earth from the sun, it'll be nighttime. Doesn't mean that the sun went out or the sun doesn't exist, or that there's some evil dark star somewhere making black light, right? Like the Christian idea somehow evolved to be that there's a Satan and a God, and they fight each other. And then one guy makes black evil stuff and the other guy makes white good stuff. So that would be like the idea that there's like this black star somewhere that makes darkness, and there's this bright star somewhere that makes sunlight. And the reason why it's nighttime is because the black star comes up. And the reason why it's daytime is because the white star comes up. But that's not the way that it really is. There's just the sun. It makes light, and if you're facing it, you get the light. And if you're facing away from it, you're darkness. You're in darkness.
Okay.
So evil is just facing away from Vishnu. Things which face you away from Vishnu, the source of reality, are bad. They take you further away from the root of reality. But things which face you towards the root of reality are good. They draw you into what you really are.
Right. Okay.
Now, because Vishnu creates other Vishnus, what can you create? You can only create more of what you are. So what manifests from Vishnu are other Vishnus, smaller Vishnus. So in other words, since Vishnu has this autonomy to him, that's the very definition of God, is that Swarat. It's totally autonomous. So any emanation from Vishnu is also going to have some degree of autonomy. And since everything emanates from Vishnu, that means everything has some autonomy to it, which means that Vishnu is not in full control. By his will, by his full control, he's not in full control. By his design, he's intentionally not in full control. He made other Vishnus. He made other autonomous entities.
Right. Okay.
He didn't make puppets.
Okay.
You know, just a Geppetto can make a puppet, but Vishnu can make a real being. Yeah. So, and Geppetto wishes that his puppet would turn into Pinocchio. You say, like, if he could, he would have made an autonomous being, but he couldn't. He can only make puppets. So Vishnu doesn't want to make puppets. Puppets are boring. What are you going to do with puppets? They never do anything except what you make them do. But everybody is so obsessed with relationships and meeting new people and stuff, and other people, because that's where it's all at. That's so interesting. So Vishnu makes other autonomous beings and then lets them be autonomous. It's his will that everything should be autonomous. So by his will, he's not all controlling. So if anybody feels like not orienting themselves towards Vishnu, they're perfectly capable of doing so. You know? So you're allowed to do evil things. But because he's Janardhan and he cares about everybody, he cares about you, so he'll let you do the thing that you want to do. If you want to do something that's not in any way harmonious with him and his design, he allows that. But he's going to give you a shock for it. To just say, you can do it, but this is what happens when you do it, because you cause other people pain by doing this. You screw up the system. So keep doing it as long as you want, but realize that this is the result of it. So eventually your autonomy may say, eventually your autonomy may say, hey, I don't really want this little pinch that I get all the time from doing it this way. There must be a better way to live. So gradually, even the entities that are oriented away from Vishnu, they gradually start to orient themselves with their own free will to Vishnu. And that's what karma is all about.
Okay. And when we're talking here about that natural law and natural order, or the Dharma, this is what we're talking about, that orientation towards.
Right. When he says Dharma samstapana, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is in this slok from Parashara Shastra and quoted verbatim from Gita. That's, and I did a recent YouTube live session about what Dharma really is, right?
Yes.
So Dharma really means that thing about you which cannot be changed. The thing about us that cannot be changed is that we're a little Vishnu.
I see. Okay.
That we belong to him. You know, that we're not just this atom floating around we're not like a free floating electron.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nucleus. That's the Dharma. We're an electron to a nucleus, but we're living like we're a nucleus.
Right.
And trying to collect electrons around us. So Dharma samstapanartaya means he's trying to get the living entities who didn't comprehend that, their Dharma, didn't comprehend that they're an electron to a nucleus. He's trying to get them to comprehend it, but he can't just do like a magic spell and say, puff, you understand this now, because you're an autonomous being.
Right.
And you're conscious, and you're another one of him. You're Vishnu. So you're another God. He can't just control you and make and change you and bend you and break you and erase you or anything like that. So he's just got to try to make the environment around you such that you will come to understand your true Dharma. And that's what karma is for.
I see. Okay, I understand. And to extend this, but kind of walk away from it for a second. And then when we look at the D9, the Navamsa chart, are we looking at whether someone can fulfill their Dharma here?
Well, you're looking at, it's all about context. You see, everything is always about context. So you get this word Dharma. In the ultimate context, Dharma means that you belong to Vishnu, that you're Vishnu's dasa, you're Vishnu's assistant.
Yes.
But that's the ultimate Dharma. My Dharma is also that I'm a dad. It's not an ultimate Dharma, but it's a temporary Dharma. So there's something called Sanatan Dharma, and Sanatan Dharma means the ultimate Dharma, the Dharma that's eternal. Sanatana, S-N-A-T-A-N-A.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes it's called the Sat Dharma. Sat is another way of saying Sanatana. The true Dharma, the real Dharma. And then there's Naimitic Dharma. N-A-I-M-I. T-I-K-A. Naimitika. Naimitika means from the omens, from the incidental incidental dharmas.
Okay.
Omens means incidents, right? In astrology, there's naimitic astrology also. That means incidental occurrences. You wouldn't really be looking at a birth chart, but you would be looking at some incidental occurrence. Oh, a comet just flew by.
Yes, okay.
And then you give an interpretation. So there's Sat Dharmas or Sanatan Dharmas, which are permanent. The permanent Dharma, that's the most fundamental Dharma that you ultimately need to realize to be enlightened and understand what you really are. But there's also naimitic dharmas, temporary incidental dharmas that you have right now that you also need to understand in order to function well in the current situation that you're in. It's not an eternal issue or something like that, but it's all about functioning properly and well in your current situation. So you don't need an astrology chart to know everybody's Sat Dharma. Everybody's Sat Dharma is the same, fundamentally the same. Everybody is Vishnu's dasa, right? But to know everybody's naimitic dharma or incidental dharmas, everyone is very, very differently set up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what astrology is showing. Everybody's naimitic dharma comes as a result of the karma. Because of the karma, I was born as a man. I got attracted to this woman. We made babies. Now we have 3 of them. We live in Japan, because of this whole karmic thing, now I'm in this whole setup, and now I have a dharma. My dharma is I have to function as a husband, as a father, as a friend, whatever I have to do.
Yes.
So what a D9 chart will show you is, in this incarnation, in this birth, these are the qualities about you that don't change. You will never be able to get away from these qualities. This is your dharma. And if you want to be happy, figure out how to make this D9 chart be productive for you. Figure out how to use the things that are in your D9 chart productively, and don't misuse them. And realize that the stuff that's in your D9 chart is the real stuff that you have to be doing. You know, so if the D9 chart is showing like education and all this stuff, then you really need to be pursuing your education. D9 chart is showing family and love and everything. Then forget about this career junk and just concentrate on your family. Then you'll be much happier, because you'll get in harmony with the core thing that you really are. In relation to a regular life, one lifetime, then the D9 is like the Sat Dharma, and the D1, the main chart, is like the Nimitic Dharma. Like the D1 is more like, here's the surface, the incidental stuff that's going on. And the D9 is like, this is the stuff that's permanent for you for this life. But on a higher level, this life is not permanent either. So the D1 is not going to show you a true Sat Dharma. And D9, Navamsha, is not going to show you a true Sat Dharma, right? It's going to show you your Sat Dharma for this life.
Okay. So that application of the D9 would set someone towards that natural order of their own being.
What does the application mean? What do you mean by that?
In terms of, you were saying that if you're meant to be a family person, then put your focus, your heart and soul into that, right? So then you're fulfilling your own natural order, which is in alignment.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, why would you want to establish Dharma samstapana? Why? Because then things are harmonious. When everything functions as it was intended to function, then you don't have friction and chaos. Parts don't break, friction doesn't happen, things don't melt, things don't get screwed up. So when you align yourself with your Dharma, when you start to behave in harmony with what you really are, then it happens easy. Life happens really easy, and things just work. Right. Because you're doing your part. You're not contributing to screwing things up. And when you don't work with your Dharma, it's like swimming against the river. Swimming against the river, or it just becomes tiring, you know. Every little thing is tiring. Every little thing seems big, and then this messes up that, and that messes up that, and everything seems like it's against you, because it is, because you're going the wrong way.
Yes, one's own inner demons, right?
Yeah,
that's what they become. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for asking such a good question.
Should I move to the next one?
Sure. I hope it's just as good as the first one.
We'll see. This one comes from chapter 3 now. Okay. So that one was chapter 2. So I hope the translation's somewhat correct here. It says, whilst I describe the celestial bodies founded in the heaven, they make their appearance as innumerable illuminated objects in the sky. So I want to know if I'm nitpicking here on the word appearance. Is the appearance something of the essence, where in chapter 1 is describing that they are the gunas, the 3 gunas, which are of Vishnu, that then become forms of grahas, or...
What does chapter 1 say?
In chapter 1 is describing the nature of Vishnu, right?
Yeah.
And it's saying that Vishnu has these 3 qualities, which are the 3 gunas. Right. Nonetheless, Vishnu is above the 3 gunas too. It's not the 3 gunas, but that is how things are formulated in our universe, right? Based on the combination of these 3 gunas.
Right.
So when he's talking about here that things make their appearance, I want to know, is that appearance talking about the essence, which is based on the gunas, or appearance isn't just the light?
Let's look at that Sanskrit.
Okay.
Vishnu has Vishnu has Shakti.
Shakti.
Shakti is a way. Shakti is the way that a entity accomplishes a goal. That's the actual definition of Shakti. Like if you want to remember this, then you're writing a note right now. So that ability to take notes is a Shakti, which enables you to get something recorded. Your goal is to record something, and the ability to write is your Shakti to accomplish that thing. So Shakti is always possessed by somebody.
Okay.
So Vishnu is the possessor of Shakti. He's known as Shaktiman, the possessor of Shakti. Bhagavan, Shaktiman. He's the one who possesses Shaktis. And then the Shakti is the thing that has gunas.
Oh, okay.
So this particular Shakti that we're talking about, that we exist with, is the Shakti to manifest a reality for the persons who are disharmonious. For all the conscious entities who are not harmonious with their Dharma, they need some place to exist. They need some realm to exist in. So he has a Shakti that takes care of us. That Shakti is called Prakriti. It's not a Sanskriti, it's a Prakriti. It's not. He also has a Sanskriti Shakti, which is more perfected Shakti, where everything works better. Just like Sanskrit is a very perfected language, and Prakrit is like Hindi and things like that, Bengali. So the Prakriti is this energy, Shakti, that manifests a reality for the people that are not really harmonious with the real reality.
Okay.
And that both of these guys, the Sanskriti, the internal, Shakti, and the external Prakriti Shakti, they both have these three fundamental qualities, but they're a little different in the perfect internal one. They don't they don't have flaws in there. But over here, they're called Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas.
Yes.
Those are the three gunas. So that's why it's said that Vishnu manifests the world through these three qualities, but yet doesn't himself have those three qualities. Just like you are the possessor of your ability to write. You aren't the ability to write. You're the possessor of it. So it's basically, again, this is a book on astrology, so he's just connecting the astrological concept to some deeper philosophical concept of the culture of the people that he's writing to. Now, in the third chapter, what was the reference there? Is the beginning?
It is chapter 3, section 2, as I have it here.
Yeah. So
I have the Sanskrit for this one here. I can email it to you if you want.
I have it. Tell me if I get anything wrong. You have it in English letters?
No, in Sanskrit.
No, I got it right here on the screen.
Okay.
Shrunu, Vipra. That means listen. Hey, listen up, you intelligent person. Shrunu Vipra. Listen up, you smart guy. Prava. Yeah, this is, if you have it and you can send it to me, I'm enlarging a small thing to look at it, and all the letters get mushed. I think it says Prava. Me? Oh, I will tell you. Pravakshami. I will tell you. Hanam.
I just sent it to you, email.
Okay. Paristita. I will tell you how all of everything is situated. Okay, in the sky. That's the first thing that he says. Let me check my email.
Okay. The document that I sent you is on page 2. And it's in grayish text right at the beginning.
Okay, so Parisa sent me her notes that are super clear. So it says Shrinu Vipra Pravakshami Bhagrahanam Paristitim. So he says, listen, sage, I'm going to tell you how the stars and planets are situated. Okay?
Yes.
So your translation says, whilst I describe the celestial bodies found in the heavens. I don't know why the translator decided to put whilst. But it's because he's saying, Shrinu, listen to me. Vipra, hey, you, Vipra, you sage, listen to me. Shrinu, I'm going to tell you, Pravakshami, about the graha and the bas, the stars and the planets. And I'm going to tell you how they're pari stiti, how they're situated. Then he says, akashe yani, in the sky, akashi yani drishyante, how you see them in the sky. Jyotir bim, and now this is very important. Jyotir bimbatya, Jyotir bimba, Jyotir bimba tya nekasa. So he's going to say, okay, I love this. This is what I love. I could do this for 3 hours. Listen, sage, I'm going to tell you about how the stars and planets are situated in the sky. Then now he says they're all Jyoti bimbas. Do you know what Jyoti is, right?
Yes.
It's light.
Yes.
You know what a bimba is?
No, what is a bimba?
A bimba is like a dot.
Oh, a dot. Oh, you've told me this before. Yes.
Yeah, it's like very similar to the word bindu, bindi,
Right.
or those, the vegetables, okras, that have lots of little round seeds in them. Those are called bindis.
I see. Okay.
Bundi.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It's the word has to do with dots. So Jyoti bimba is like a point of light. So he's going to say, I'm going to tell you about the situation of the stars and planets. It's very interesting. He doesn't use the word Rashi here, but he says the ba, which is the nakshatras, the stars, and the graha, the planets. Both of those are Jyotibimba. They're actually dots of light that you can really, truly see in the sky. The Rashis aren't.
Right.
The Rashis you don't see. They're not the stars or the planets.
Mm-hmm.
And he says those Jyotibimba, he describes them as akashe, they're in space. Yani, those guys are in space. Drishyante, you can actually see them as dots of light in the sky. And that's exactly what it says. Shrinu vipra pravakshami vagrahanam paristitim akashe yani drishyante jyotibimbatya nekasha. They're all the dots of light that you see in the sky. That's his first point. So the word that you're asking about, which is appearance, is just something that the guy threw in. It's his way of talking. It's his way of learning English. Make their appearance, right? It frustrates me to no end why people try to be so fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me the translation of the thing. It doesn't have to sound like Shakespeare.
Right.
Whilst I describe the celestial bodies found in the skies, they make their appearance as innumerable illuminated objects in the sky. You can also tell that the person doesn't really know what they're talking about, and they're just translating. Like if they actually knew, they would make it simpler. The guy is the author is saying, I'm going to tell you about the stars and planets in the sky. Those are the things that you can see as dots of light in the sky. That's it.
Yeah, if I had that translation, I know appearance is literally appearance of those lights, dots in the sky.
That's probably what he's saying. Drishyante. He's probably saying that means your appearance, but actually drishyante means you can see them.
You can see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word see and appearance.
They're visible. They're visible. And it's important because I don't know if is your next question going to go to the next verses?
It's going to section 3.5, which is
like section 3.4 and 5. It starts. He's eventually going to mention a Rashi, but he's going to say Rashi is different.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and ask your question. Next question.
So this next one says the circle is similarly divided into 12 rashis or signs, beginning with Mesha, which is Aries. The grahas commence in Arka, which is the sun. I wanted to know, where does that logical conceptualization of space and the universe as a circle comes from in this text?
Oh, okay, well that's easy. That's because when you look up at the sky,
Just a spherical.
It's a spherical thing.
Okay.
And if you do more than look at it, but you measure it a bit, even if you just like measure how the sun moves, It
Yes.
goes up and comes down and then comes must be doing the same thing because it comes around that other side. So if you think about the sky, it will look like a wheel that rotates around you.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is, it's the earth that's this wheel round, and the earth is rotating. But when you stand on the earth, the truth of the matter is that the earth is standing still and the sky is rotating around you. So Puranas and older culture either didn't know or didn't care. If you study the Puranas carefully, didn't know or didn't care that there's a third person view. They just take the first person view of describing the universe. If you study the Puranas carefully, you'll see they do know about a third person view. Because they'll talk about things about the sun being the center of this and that. They'll talk about, and the earth being a globe.
Yes.
They mention it, but mostly they focus on the earth as a flat plane and the sky being a thing, being a round thing that goes around it, because they take the first person view because it's practical.
Yes.
But here and there, they'll give you the third person view to show that they're not illiterate.
Right.
And that they know what they're talking about.
Okay. Yes.
So let me see that's what the thing is about a circle. It's just the first person view of the universe. One thing I'd like to add here is this is a key point in my argument about how the Rashis are separate from the nakshatras. It's these particular verses from the Brihadarashara Shastra, because he says, listen, sage, I'm going to tell you about how the spa and graha are situated in the sky. The stars and planets, those are the Jyotibimba that you can see. And then he says, blah, blah, blah. Then he says, but you can also divide that same space into 12 Rashis.
Yes.
So the use of the word to or but, and but also, it means this is different now. He's not talking about Jyotibimbas anymore. He's talking about that same circle that goes around the sky. It's a chakra.
Yes.
But it's not the one of Jyotibimbas anymore. It's something else. It's made of Rashis. And if you know roots of words and things, Rashi means the rush. The sun is the Rashmi. The sun is the one who has rays and energy and light. That's what Rash means. It's a root of words like Raj, a king, a powerful person. Someone who's energy, powerful. So the Rashi is like the sun's power, the sun's energy, the sun's light. It's a segment of sunlight. And that's why, they define it by how much sunlight is there at this particular time of the year.
Okay. Yes.
The ebb and flow of light and shadow is the defining, or day and night is the defining characteristic of the zodiac, the 12 Rashis.
Because I omitted that section 3 and 4 before I get into 5. He does say that, and then he says, and there are nakshatras, which are different because they're fixed.
Yeah, so he's going to say there's grahas. They move around like they have some will to them, so they're like very important. And then he says there's nakshatras. They start with the horses.
Yes.
So he starts his nakshatras with Ashwini, because that's around the time that this text was written.
Yes.
That's a clue, actually, that this isn't a valid Vedic text. That's a clue that it's a later text.
The procession of the...
Yeah, it could be a valid Vedic text, but it's a clue that it's not an ancient text, because it must be roughly 1,500 to 2,000 years old if the person is counting Ashwini as the first star group, because that was the convention that began only 1,500 to 2,000 years ago. Okay. In the older sections of the Vedas, they count Kritika as the first star group.
Okay, right.
And that's probably when it was defined. Anyway, he says there's 27, there's nakshatras that start with the horses that divide this space full of points of light. And then he says, but there's another way that you can do it with the 12 Rashis. So it's also showing it's not the same as the nakshatras. There's a different way of doing it.
Yes. And do we have time for the last part of this question?
Yeah, this is great. Let's do the last.
Okay. So in that same statement in the section 5 of chapter 3, so he talks about that, says the circle is similarly divided into 12 Rashis or signs, beginning with Aries, and the grahas commence with the sun. And my question was, what exactly does it mean that the grahas commence with the sun, and yet the beginning point of the sun is starting in Aries? Shouldn't it be starting in Leo, at least, if the commencement?
No, the beginning of the zodiac is Aries.
So it's talking about the
He gives you the beginning of each one. And it's going to be important because these books used to be copied by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And people they would not be verbose. They would be economic in their wording. So a lot of times they establish the orders of things in the beginning, and then later they're just going to refer to them by index.
I see. Okay.
So that they don't have to write out full names every time and all that stuff. So here in the beginning of the book, he's giving you the indexes. He's giving you the orders. He says when we talk about nakshatras, if we say third nakshatra, then it's the third one from Ashwini, because we define the Ashwini as the head. If we say the fourth planet, then that would be Sun, Moon, Mars. Sun, Moon, Mars. It's been so long since I did it.
Moon, Mercury, Venus.
No, it doesn't go that way. It goes days of the week order.
Okay.
So, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Sun, Moon, Mars, Wednesday, Mercury. So if you said fourth planet, you would be talking about Mercury.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Since for like the last 3 years, I just gave up on doing it days of the week order, and I just did it speed order, natural order. But in the old text, they keep the days of the week order. Okay. So here he's just saying, like, when you say third sign, it means third from Aries. When you say fourth planet, it means Mercury, the fourth in the order from the sun. You start from the sun.
Okay.
So it also means that the sun is the first planet.
Okay.
It also means, the sun is the king of the planets. The sun is the most important planet. Aries is the most important sign. Ashwini is the most important nakshatra. But it doesn't mean that's not really the most important meaning. He's just saying, hey, you know about these guys. Sun, etc. Actually, this is again a Sanskrit to English issue, where your question is mostly about this ambiguous English wording, but in Sanskrit it's very easy. He's probably Suryadi. Probably what he's saying. Meshadi. Ashvayujadi. Which is just saying, that list that starts with Ashwini, those are the guys that are the nakshatras. That list that starts with Aries, those are the zodiacs. That list that starts with the sun, those are the planets. Okay. It's actually really simple. It boggles my mind how the things have been translated so complicatedly. As if you need to make it as if you need to dress this stuff up to make it look more mystical than it really is. It's already mystical enough, man. Just try to simplify it.
So true. It's actually, some parts doesn't make sense. I felt like I was walking over a bridge and then there was no bridge, and I just fell.
Yeah, it's scary.
Where am I? What happened? Yeah.
Got another question?
Yes. Okay, so this one's from section 3.6. The translation didn't make sense, or maybe I just don't understand. It says the Rashi rising at the birth is called Lagna. The fortune or misfortune of the one born to seek divinity is to be considered from the Lagna and then joining and departing from the grahas. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is a terrible translation. It's very... Let me see if I got your notes here.
Yes, it's on top of point 6, chapter 3.
Yeah, so here you gave the Sanskrit nice and clear. Yeah. So the Rashi rising at birth is called Lagna. That part's easy, right?
Yes.
Now, it's kind of easy, but nobody explains what the word Lagna means.
No.
Lagna is the anchor. It is like a heavy anchor point.
Yes.
Or the focal point. So what he's saying is the focal point of a Janma chakra, the focal point of an astrological chart will be the Rashi that's rising at birth. Okay. That's what he's saying in that first sentence. Rashi Namud, the Rashi that's rising is Lagnam, is called the Lagna. Then he said Tad Vasham Tadvasha Deva Janminam, the one who's been born, the fortune of misfortune of the one born to seek divinity. Born to seek divinity is to be considered from the Lagna and the joining and departing of the grahas. This is a very simple thing. You could just translate it like this. The Rashi that's rising when you're born is called your Lagna, and then you'll see your fortune or misfortune based on what planets are affect or don't affect the lagna.
That's it.
That's it. That's what he's saying, isn't it? Just edit this English, even if you don't look at the Sanskrit. The fortune or misfortune of the one born to seek divinity, who knows what this born to seek divinity thing is to be considered from the lagna and the joining or departing of the grahas. So he just got it wrong, because I wonder if the translator knew astrology. Because if you know astrology, it's just such a simple statement.
Mm-hmm.
That
It sounded very mystical there, the seeking divinity and then joining and departing from grahas.
Yeah, it just means, if the joining means conjoining, conjunction,
Mm-hmm.
and departing means not, right?
Okay.
Let me see if I can get these Sanskrit words. Graha yut, see? Graha yoga. The grahas that are conjoined. Graha yoga, yogi, yoga, or not joined. That's what it's saying. The planets that are joined or not joined to the lagna give you the pala. Yeah, man. Pala chintya. You that's how you figure out. Chintya means think about or figure out the pala, the result, by considering what planets are joined or not joined to the lagna.
That's so easy.
Shubha shubham. Well, this thing about seeking divinity must be some weird way of him thinking about this. Tadvesha deva. Tadvesha deva. That living being who's been born. That living being who's been born. How will you understand that living being who's been born? The seeking divinity thing is totally unnecessary.
Okay.
The destiny of that person, that living being who's been born, considered by looking at the sign that's been rising, consider that the focal point. Okay. So here he's giving a one shloka summary of how you do astrology, right? In one shloka he's saying, get a focal point, and the biggest focal point should be the rising sign, and then consider what planets join or don't join that focal point, and if it's auspicious planets joining it, then give an auspicious shubha shubham, give an auspicious, understand it to be an auspicious thing. If it's an inauspicious planet that joins that focal point, understand it to be an inauspicious thing. Simple.
Wow. Yeah.
That's why people get these books and then they think, oh, I might as well just go listen to YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? You're better off ironically, you're better off listening to this video on YouTube than reading the Brihad Parashara Horror Shastra, because the translations that you got of the Brihad Parashara Horror Shastra are such garbage.
Mm-hmm.
They're so difficult to understand, even the simplest things. Yes. This is the simplest concept, but the way the book has presented it is so difficult to understand. So what to speak of when somebody's going to tell you how to do Ashtak Varga, or how to interpret the dashas, or some legitimately difficult thing. Forget it.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to learn. You got to have working knowledge of Sanskrit
to
be able to use these books, because the translations that you get are really not very helpful.
No, thank you for clarifying this.
If somebody out there wants to give a patronage, a large sum of money
for
somebody to translate this book, I'd be happy to take it. But it's impossible to do that without a patronage with a huge sum of money, because it'll take like a year of dedicated work.
It's 2 huge volumes, the 2 books that I have.
Yeah, and you can't do it like in your spare time. If you're going to if you're going to make a good translation of Brihad Parashara Horror Shastra, you have to focus on it and dedicate your whole day to it.
Yes.
So somebody might say, well, Vic, why don't you do a translation of it? And I'll say, well, where's the money? How am I going to pay for my house and do a translation of the book at the same time? But if there's somebody out there there's rich people out there, if somebody wants to give a donation to the benefactor society of the world,
no,
but it would have to be a pretty damn big donation to be able to make it work.
Yeah.
But even if you just did chapter 1 to 5,
yes,
you could do it in segments.
Yes.
Even if you did chapter 1 to 5, it would be such a contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have been doing the Taittiriya Brahmana. I'm translating the Taittiriya Brahmana because I want to know it myself.
Yes.
See, with this Parashara Horror Shastra, I already know it. Mm-hmm. But I already know because I did my own work to figure it out, but I didn't write it out and edit it and everything for everybody else. So if I'm going to go back and do the Horror Shastra, for me, it's just work. But the Nakshatra Sutra was a brand new thing to me.
Yes.
So I just said, hey, I'm going to make my own time to do this translation work.
Yes.
And that's going to be a nice contribution to the astrological communities to give a good translation of that.
And the class was amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Loved it.
Well,
Yeah.
we have the last one tomorrow, right?
Yes. I will be there for that one. This move, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Parisa, this was a fantastic class. I would love to do more questions.
There's a lot more pages if we have time.
Let's
or if
continue
you
with
feel
it.
like it. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not right now, but like maybe next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good luck with your move.
Thank you so
I
much.
suggest you keep the bookshelf like that. It looks so.
You like it like that?
Yeah, it looks like you're studying constantly.
It does look like something's happening here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yes. Bye.